This is Pranav Rao from Smartkarma, and I'm happy to have with me today Criss Wang to discuss her views on Henlius Biotech. That's 2696HK. Criss, thanks for your time today on the 21st of July. Could you briefly introduce Henlius Biotech to listeners?
Thanks for having me today. So in June last year, Pharma proposed to privatize Henlius. At that time, I published an insight to point out the risks and concerns behind. I think the cancellation price of Henlius is too low, which cannot fully reflect the fundamentals of this company, and Henlius was greatly undervalued. And then we saw the deal break, and afterwards the V-shaped rebound of share price of Henlius, all of which were in line with the analysis in our insights. In my view, Henlius is one of the very few biotech companies in China that has successfully turned loss into profits. The company's performance has been on track, so I think its future revenue scale would be RMB 8 to 9 billion. If based on net profit margin of about 15% and a PE ratio of 20 times, market value of Henlius would be RMB 24 to 27 billion. And this is already a very conservative estimate. And based on that, I think there will be another 20 to 50% upside potential, mainly driven by the strong globalization outlook. For example, Hanqiu has been listed in US and EU market. Hanstrong became China's first PD-1 to be sold in Southeast Asia market and also got the approval in EU as well. And then we saw HRX14 has submitted its application in the US and the EU market. Besides, Henlius also reached a couple of cooperation agreements with overseas companies such as Dr. Rallies, Sandoz, etc. So overall, the globalization progress of this company is in good shape. On the other hand, we also see a couple of good assets in the pipeline. For example, HRX43 has shown early efficacy for IO-resistant NSCLC patients in clinical trials. HRX22 may be the next blockbuster. Together with other pipelines, the drug combination, the indication expansion, as well as future licensing deals, we think Henlius will continue to grow and bring investors good returns. And now we see that Henlius share price has hit new highs recently. This actually means that the market has fully recognized its fundamentals and the potential. So looking forward, it is expected that Henlius has great chance to be included in the Hong Kong Stock Connect. Together with the H-share for circulation, we think the liquidity and the financing ability of this company would greatly improved. So we remain bullish on Henlius because we think this company has reached a new starting point.
Got it. Thanks very much for that, Criss. I think a lot of what you described was very positive. What do you think of as the major risks around Henlius today?
Okay, the biggest headwind in the short term, I think, should be the biosimilar VBP, which may bring some fluctuations to the performance of share price. But I have to say that the biosimilar VBP has been circulating in the industry for a long time. For example, as early as 2020, the NHSA has already mentioned biosimilar VBP. So this is actually not new to investors. And I also think that the management of Henlius has already prepared for this. So let's see the final VBP results. Maybe the price reduction of the drugs may not be as bad as expected.
Understood. Thank you. Moving a little further behind, I guess we've seen a big rally in the China innovative drug sector since fourth quarter of 2024. What are your views on this? Do you think this is a sustainable rally, or do you think there's chances that this peters out?
Well, for the recent surge in China biotech sector, I think it is mainly driven by the strong expectations for the licensing cooperation. It is not based on the fundamental inflection point in my view. Instead, it is mainly due to the deep undervaluation after 4 years of decline. Under the general background of the liquidity warming up and the flowing into the risky assets, together with the BD wave, it has given rise to a rapid escalation of sentiment. However, if you check the private market, the Hong Kong stock's cornerstone or pre-IPO old share transfer opportunities before and after submitting prospectus have been snapped up. However, the sentiments towards the company that is going to submit prospectus more than half a year later has greatly reduced. This means that the private market still has concerns on the long-term outlook of the sector. They are not that confident in that. Because if you check the fundamentals of the sector, the basic science, the payment system, the hospital admission, the clinical development have not undergone big changes in the past 6 months. Well, it's really difficult to predict exactly when the valuation bubble will burst. But this is the information we would love to share with investors. So we would recommend to be rational. Thank you.
Got it. Thanks very much for the call today, Criss. And listeners, do check out Chris's coverage of the China innovative drug sector on Smartkarma and tune into our next Smart Call. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.